Perfect. So before we get started, I just want to thank you all for coming. We're really excited about the new legislation that Representative Fiedler introduced, and we're excited to celebrate Steelton-Highspire's leadership in clean energy, and that to learn more about their path, which is not stopping at the solar field. First, I would like to recognize our distinguished guest, of course, Representative Elizabeth Fiedler, who has developed laws that not only strengthen our schools, but also our labor workforce. We have the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, Representative Jordan Harris, Representative Dave Madsen, who proudly represents the community that Steelton-Highspire serves. And we also have Leanne Kruger from District 161, Delaware County, joining us today. So we want to thank you all for your leadership, representing the people who elected you. Thank you. Of course, we want to also recognize the Pennsylvania School Board Association. We have the President-elect Mike Gossert, as well as Kevin Bushner, the Managing Director of Government Affairs. We cannot forget about the local officials, such as Mayor of Highspire, Vaughn Hess, Council Member Robert Stutch, and then the Chair of Steelton Borough Council, Natasha Woods. And of course, it takes a village to lead a school, and we can't forget about the school board members, the President Michael Warner, Ashley Ward McMullen, the Vice President, and Juliana Paoletti. Thank you all for coming and appreciating and showing your support for Steelton-Highspire. Thank you. Yes. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Shannon Crooker, Generation 180's Director for Pennsylvania and our Solar for All Schools program. Generation 180 is a national nonprofit whose mission is to inspire and equip individuals to take action on clean energy in their homes and their communities, which is why we are here today celebrating Steelton-Highspire's leadership in clean energy. Schools are the heartbeats of our community. They bring together people from all walks of life, serving as a community hub, whether we're putting aside our differences to celebrate the Division I state champion football team. Roller Nation, yes.
Titletown.
Are coming together to restore communities after a natural disaster, which Steelton-Highspire will be much better equipped to do than most with their electric school bus powered by their solar power. So we have to recognize their leadership there. Through our Solar for All Schools program, Generation 180 amplifies schools' success stories. But we also assist schools, providing them with resources and connecting them to other school leaders, to their peers who have already taken action on clean energy. We know that they trust their peers the most, so elevating a story like Steelton-Highspire's is at the heart of what we do. Our goal is to connect you to the resources you need to take action on clean energy. And as one of my colleagues has been known to say, Mickey Dutro from West Branch, she's the former superintendent of West Branch School District, it's about practicing what we teach. So who better to lead by example than the schools who are leading our children and teaching them that what we do today has an impact on tomorrow. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Representative Elizabeth Fiedler to talk about her new legislation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I'm State Rep Elizabeth Fiedler. I'm so excited to be here, so grateful to my colleagues, Chair Harris, and to Rep Dave Madsen for hosting us. And thank you so much to the whole Steelton family for welcoming us here and for this absolutely beautiful weather. We couldn't have asked for anything better. I've been hearing about this solar array for a while. Shannon's talked about it, the superintendent, Rep Madsen, and yet I have to say, even after hearing about it for a couple of months when we pulled up, it took my breath away. I just think it is such an awesome example of what is possible. So often, I think so many of our schools are, so many people are overwhelmed, right, by the challenges in front of us, by the focus on education, by trying to help kids catch up after COVID, right, by all these very real and incredibly important things. And at the same time, we're really calling upon our schools to be visionary, to think about what else is possible in addition to the absolutely important educational benefits. And I just think that the solar here at Steelton, the school bus, which I'm really excited to see in action, is such an amazing example of what is possible. I want to give a quick shout out to Steve from my office, who has been very, very integral to developing this legislation, as have a lot of the environmental and labor partners who are joining us today and who have been along on this trip. The Solar for Schools legislation that we have in the House would help Pennsylvania bring back federal money so that we can have even more amazing gems across Pennsylvania at schools across the Commonwealth. We really think that by bringing back federal money and federal working with state partners, we can support schools across Pennsylvania and putting solar on their land or solar on their roof, as is probably the case for our schools in Philadelphia. And as you know from the example here at Steelton, there are tremendous benefits, right? There are financial benefits, there are educational benefits in terms of students getting to see firsthand the green energy technology that's possible. And there are benefits, obviously, to taxpayers and to local municipalities who get to really see those dollar savings firsthand. So I'm just excited to be here. I'm very grateful to everyone who has made this day a huge success. Big shout out to Generation 180, who has really helped to put this together and helped to showcase this example of solar for schools as a wonderful, wonderful touchstone that I think all of our districts can aspire to. So I just want to say thank you again for having us. I'm really excited for today. And with that, I think I will, would you like me to? Okay, yes. Chair Harris, if you would be so kind as to offer a few words, we're really glad that you're here. And thank you again for having us.
Good morning. My name is Representative Jordan Harris. I serve my neighbors in South and Southwest Philadelphia in the 186th District, and I serve my colleagues as the Majority Chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. I'm glad to be here this morning. Thank you to Representative Fiedler for her legislation, and for Representative Madsen for having us in his backyard, and to all of you for being here. I have a fundamental belief that schools are more than just houses of education, but that they are really community hubs, and that anywhere that you see a school, you don't just see just students and teachers, but you actually see a beacon of hope for the future for that community. And when you see projects like this, you see what we can do when we are visionary in our houses of education. It is also a fundamental principle that the dollars and cents that we spend in these schools, that we should be doing all that we can to make sure they go as far as they can. And this project is a prime example of making sure that we're doing all that we can to return as much money back to the classrooms as possible, while also being concerned about the kind of environment and planet that we leave for our children. As a former educator, former school teacher myself, I could tell you that it is one thing to teach a child something in a book. It is another thing to let them see it firsthand and in person. And this is a great example of that. So, we are going to be taking a deep dive at what this looks like, and how, or what the possibilities are to replicate things of this nature across the Commonwealth, while also making sure that we leave not one single federal dollar on the table that could come to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It is our responsibility as legislators to bring back as much money from the federal government as we can back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So I thank you all for being here. I thank you for your ingenuity. I thank you for your vision in doing this, in leading the way in Pennsylvania, and showing us what all of our schools could look like and what we could be doing if we just had a little faith, a little belief, and a little vision. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you to my colleague, Representative Fiedler, for her work on this. Thank you, Representative Madsen, for having us in your backyard. God bless everyone. Have a good day. And I'm sure all of y'all know him at this point. Our colleague, Representative Dave Madsen.
Thank you, Chairman Harris. Thank you, Representative Fiedler, for putting this legislation together. And thank you, Steelton-Highspire, for hosting us this morning. And first, I want to thank the local elected officials, the school board members, the superintendent, for passing legislation like, supporting innovative technology like this and making Steelton really a leader in the 21st century energy economy. So I want to take us back to like 100 years. When you look at that steel mill, at the time, it was the Silicon Valley of its day. And back 100 years ago, the challenge of that generation was to manufacture and build the modern American economy. So some of the first steel that was poured in the United States just happened just down the road. Fast forward here, what our generation has to tackle is how to transition our economy to a greener economy. I believe the greatest challenge of this generation is going to be going to a carbon-free economy and fueling our buses, our school, our energy, our entire economy off of renewable energy. And so I'm so proud of this community because it's living up to its legacy. 100 years ago, we were on the forefront. Fast forward 100 years later, we're on the forefront again of building the new future and the new America. And so I can't be prouder of this community for doing this, for being a leader. And actually, this isn't the only space where there was some innovative stuff happening. When I worked for the Department of Agriculture, I was actually right there at the aquaponics farm. So I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know where it's at currently. But again, that was just another piece of innovation that this school district was putting forward. So I would like to thank my colleagues for spearheading this legislation, replicating this across the state, chasing those federal dollars, but also, again, just thanking this community for, again, stepping up, being leaders for the 21st century economy and green future that we're going to have here. So thank you. And the guy that is really deserves a lot of the credit here, he's been a leader, we've been talking constantly, is Superintendent, I always butcher his name, Strick. So he's going to come up and kind of get into the details of how all this got done. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mick Iskrick. I'm the superintendent here at Steelton-Highspire. Just to let you know, we're an urban school district, and we're currently underfunded to the tune of $10 million. So just like Representative Harris spoke about, we have to think of ways that we can be innovative, get some small wins along the way to help put more money back into our classrooms, back into our students and our community that deserve it. So when we move forward, a solar renewable energy project just like this continues to be that type of win. The Steelton-Highspire School District worked with a Harrisburg-based company named McClure Company, which you'll hear from shortly, to install this 1.7 megawatt solar field. This generates enough electricity to directly offset 100% of our energy use. So this district is 100% supported by solar energy, the entire district. With savings associated with that this solar project, we expect to save roughly $13,000 per year. It actually is exceeding that. We're gaining about $8,000 to $9,000 per month, to the tune of up to $200,000 a year over the next 20 years. But moving forward, you can see we're going to save the taxpayers $3.6 million from this project. One thing that's pretty unique about this project is it's put on a landfill. So this space here, and I was speaking with Representative Fiedler earlier this morning, this was like a playground to me. We rode bikes here, we did things, all the time as kids growing up. But this is a landfill. Underneath here is the remnants from the 1972 flood from Hurricane Agnes. In addition to offsetting utility expenditures, our district's able to incorporate real-time energy production and savings directly into the classroom. Each school building is equipped with a flat screen TV that displays real-time data, so it shows the carbon footprint that's being reduced on a daily basis. We provide teachers and anybody, it's on our website, a web link to see real-time information that's happening at this very minute. The future of solar energy has endless possibilities while using this innovative technology. For the Steelton-Highspire School District, additional projects related to solar renewable energy will look to support the school district and many community needs. In partnership with First Student, our bus transportation company, we were awarded 7 electric school buses through the EPA's Clean School Grant, or Clean School Rebate Program, which you see one here. Because of this program, the school district will ultimately reduce our emissions of carbon dioxide and other pollutants. We're working with Penn State Health currently to possibly test the impact of riding in a diesel bus versus riding in an electric school bus as well, to see what kind of imprint and what kind of positive effect the change will have on our communities and our students, more importantly. This program, through this program, we'll be installing electric charging stations. We can charge the buses directly from here. We'll also provide charging stations for community members and also our teachers. One of our ways we're going to try to combat the teacher shortage is offer a free charging station to our teachers, you know, as an added benefit on top of, because we're so underfunded, we have some of the lowest salaries in our entire county. So we're looking at ways to attract more teachers. Our goal is to also, as more opportunities to go green and reduce our carbon footprint arise, we will continue to expand our existing solar fields. So through this type of bill, we'll be able, as you can see, we have plenty of land, we have plenty of rooftops. We also have a football field as well that needs to be powered by solar. So we'll do whatever it takes to move forward to reduce our energy costs and hopefully generate revenue for this district. The Solar for Schools grant program will directly support these future projects for my district as well as other districts throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is essential for the sustainability of our country, of our state, and also the school districts as a whole. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Kevin Bushard from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association to speak about this legislation.
Sorry about that. We're excited. We have to say goodbye to Chairman Harris, so we wanted to get a couple of photos first, so I hope you guys don't mind this brief interruption.
Good morning, I'm Kevin Busher, the Managing Director of Government Affairs at the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, and a former 9-year member of the Lower Dauphin School Board here in Dauphin County. Like every other homeowner and business owner, school districts have been forced to deal with increases in energy costs to heat and cool their buildings, prepare meals for their students, or just to keep their lights on so students can learn. These challenges can put school boards in a difficult position. School boards may have to look at increasing local taxes or diverting resources away from classrooms to cover increasing energy costs. I can tell you that is not a position any school board director wants to be in. As responsible stewards of taxpayer and environmental resources, school boards would love to take advantage of the savings and green energy potential of solar power. However, the resources needed to get solar projects off the ground is lacking in many cases. The Solar for All Schools bill would help get many of these projects off the ground by providing a source of state funding for the study and installation of solar panels in schools across the state. In our most recent State of Education report, more than half of school districts reported energy efficiency upgrades as one of their biggest areas of infrastructure needs, and nearly 3/4 of districts reported a lack of state resources as the reason for postponing much needed investments in infrastructure. We'd like to thank Representative Fiedler for her leadership on this issue and other school leaders joining us here today to advocate for cleaner, cheaper energy for our public schools. Thank you.
So one thing we know that these projects can't be done without boots on the ground. So we want to recognize the partner, McClure Company, Alyssa Wiegenfield, who is going to discuss and give you the details on the project so we can learn more. Thank you, Lisa.
Good morning. My name's Alyssa Wingenfield. I'm with McClure Company. Here with me today is the McClure team, Shu, Dip, and Mark Gallagher. I served as the engineer and account executive on the Steelton-Highspire solar project. On a personal note, as a kid, I was encouraged into engineering by my uncle. By the time I got to high school, my high school offered curriculum for STEM career pathways, and that's the reason I'm here today. So it's my hope that this solar project will encourage the students of Steelton-Highspire to pursue their dreams in STEM careers as well. On behalf of the McClure team, I want to say thank you to the Steelton-Highspire School District Administration and Board of Education for once again valuing and trusting in our long-lasting partnership. I say long-lasting because this partnership has started over 20 years ago, and this is our fourth energy project with the district since 2003. We've done the first 3 projects to make these buildings more energy efficient, such as heating, ventilating, and air conditioning efficiency, air sealing, and high-efficiency lighting systems, and many more. Each of these were implemented through guaranteed energy savings agreements, and the total amount of energy expenses to the taxpayers of Steelton-Highspire is over $7 million over these agreements. So fast forward to 2019, when we met with the district to discuss a new energy saving idea, solar. By 2020, we were under contract, and by 2022, we were standing in this very location holding scissors at the ribbon cutting ceremony. My favorite quote from the ceremony was when board president at the time, Rachel Slade, says, "We're doing things here at Steelton-Highspire." And you certainly are. The solar project that brings us together this morning has a couple unique factors, and I'd like to name a few. First, it's designed to deliver 1.7 megawatts of power to the district facilities, which is enough to offset 100% of all the electrical needs. It was also built on a former landfill. This land would have been unsuitable for traditional construction, so utilizing it to produce renewable energy power is a great story. And although the construction cost of the system was approximately $3 million, this process through a power purchase agreement required no out-of-pocket expenses for the school district. McClure Company provided the upfront capital and the federal tax incentives to fund the entire project. So even though the district doesn't pay taxes, they benefit from the partnership by leveraging McClure's tax liability. In addition, to maximize the solar array's efficiency, we also provided a holistic lighting retrofit with high-efficient LED fixtures. And this system is projected to save the taxpayers of Steelton-Highspire a net savings of more than $3.6 million. So in addition to the financial benefit, the project also provides attractive environmental benefits, such as the equivalent of avoiding 73 million miles driven by an average car, 6,000 homes electric usage for a year, and 400 tanker trucks of fuel. So in closing, on behalf of McClure Company team, we thank you for choosing us as your trusted partner, and I would call this the ultimate capstone to the Steelton-Highspire School District's commitment to reducing energy costs and its carbon footprint. Thank you.
Don't run away too far. We wanted to open up to Q&A real quick and see if anyone had any questions about the solar project before we move on to the ESB, electric school bus, that is. Any questions? I'll take that as a no. I'm going to introduce Mark JJ, he goes by JJ Carnes, who is the business manager for Steelton-Highspire School District and who really led the charge on going after this grant for the ESB. So, without further ado.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. Well, between Alyssa and Mick, I might as well just tear this thing up. This is pointless right now. They stole most of my thunder here, but to circle back around, talking about bringing federal dollars here, not only to the state of Pennsylvania, but to the communities of Steelton-Highspire. I applied for and won 7 electric school buses through the EPA's rebate program. That's $2.5 million of federal money that's coming directly here to the school district And not only does it provide 7 electric school buses like you see here, it takes 7 diesel school buses off the road permanently. That's the purpose of the EPA's program. It's not just to hand out free electric and clean school buses. It's to reduce the amount of diesel buses that are on the road. And beyond just the environmental impacts, we're looking at the health impacts to our students, as Mr. Iskrick alluded to earlier. So, beyond, like I said, beyond just going green, we're looking at improving the health and welfare of not only our students, but all of our community members. Diesel buses will no longer be sitting out front idling. They will not be idling at stops. This thing's like a giant go-kart, basically. It's completely quiet. I highly recommend that you take advantage of the opportunity this morning here to take a ride on this. It'll be a little short ride, but I was able to take a ride on one down in Washington, D.C. It's a very transformative experience. So, looking forward, beyond just having the electric school buses here, which all 7 of them will live right out back of our mobile classroom right here, they will be plugged directly into our high school, which will be, and they will be charging through the PV array that you see behind me. And then to take it one step further, what that also does is it creates a resiliency hub for the school district and the communities. And what that means is, even in a case, this thing sitting on a landfill that was the result of a hurricane that swept through here in 1972. God forbid the same thing should happen again. And even, if the sun's shining, we're producing electric. Well, if this PV array gets damaged, all 7 of these electric school buses have the capability to discharge into our building, and there's enough to power the entire high school itself. So not only is that obviously good for the school district, but for the community as a whole, because no matter what happens here in Steelton, we'll always have a safe place for our residents of both Steelton-Highspire to come to in an emergency situation, where we'll be able to provide relief, but also keep everybody comfortable by, whether we need to heat or cool the gymnasiums or the school building itself. And then as soon as the sun comes back on, we'll be powering the building that way. So, we're really excited about this new process and this opportunity that's come here. As Superintendent said, we're underfunded to the tune of about $10 million a year. So we have to be innovative. We have to be creative. That's out of necessity, not by design. So we should be taking delivery of our school buses around this time next year. So we're looking to have our electric school buses on the road for the 24-25 school year. And we're really excited to see what else can come down the road for us here. So to speak to a little bit more detail about electric school buses, we have our partner First Student, who will actually own and operate the school buses for us. They are our primary contractor. We have Mr. Steve Menser. He's the senior EV consultant for First Group and First Student, who not only provide transportation for our school district, our neighboring school district, Middletown, and plenty of other school districts across the state, across the nation, and I think you guys are even up in Canada. They're all over the place. So, Steve, if you don't mind.
Thanks, JJ. So, don't you love when a plan comes together? Can you believe that all of this powers all of that? It's pretty remarkable. I can't imagine the detail, but the vision that you guys had to make all this happen is it's really impressive. And I'm really glad to be here today to talk a little bit more about electric buses. Got some good news. During the initial round of funding, the EPA Clean School Bus Program, the state of Pennsylvania had 11 schools that received awards. I think it was 89 buses, might be 88 buses total. 66 schools applied for 558 buses. The government issued $900 million worth of awards across the country. And yesterday, they issued a NOFO. Does anybody know what a NOFO is? A few people nodding their heads. Yeah, it's a notice of funding opportunity. So that means the next round of funding is opened up. It opened yesterday, and the window will remain open until August 22nd. This round of funding is going to be a little different than from the last round, which was fairly simple and straightforward process. Same thing was a rebate program to get old dirty buses off the roads and replace them with electric vehicles. And this one's going to be more of a competitive grant. So a lot of what you see here is going to probably tie into the evaluation process. They're going to look at things like resiliency and what your long-term plan is. And I think what we're starting to see more and more is that school districts are going to have to start looking at their buses as an energy asset versus just a transportation asset, right? So when the buses are sitting over the summer, they can be used to put energy back into the grid, to do some peak shaving, to help you manage your energy costs and your spend to lower your costs. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to learn from this particular school district. I think across the state of Pennsylvania, a lot of schools will be interested to see how things have been going here. And then I'm really interested to see kind of the clean air study that's going to be done to show the difference and what kind of impact it might have on students' health in terms of asthma and the respiratory issues. So there's a lot of benefits, a lot of pluses here. I'll give you a quick update on this competitive grant. So again, it's a diesel replacement program. It's a 120-day window of opportunity. There's going to be a webinar on May 10th for school districts that want to learn more. I would suggest you tune into that. If you want to see me, I'll send you all the links, and there's a whole lot of them. You can get a PhD in electric school buses now just by going to the EPA's website. Let's see, they're gonna have a portion is going to go to prioritized school districts like the last time, but we don't know what that mix is going to be. We heard something like 40%, and this go around they're going to actually allocate more buses. There were a lot of buses awarded to rural school districts where they only received maybe 1 or 2 buses, which are pretty easy to implement. Now they're looking at maybe awards of 25 to 50 buses, and the more buses you try to implement or install, the more complicated it gets. Energy is kind of an interesting animal. Electric fields and so forth, they don't always work together. Sometimes they work against each other. So planning and really understanding what your needs are, what your charging requirements are up front, and trying to get ahead of that and understand what the infrastructure requirements are going to be, really, really critical. That's an area where we can help you, and I'm sure JJ and his team could probably give you some insights as well. So I would say if you're interested in applying for the funding and try and bring some of these buses to your school, I would get busy right now. Reach out to your utilities if you need help doing that. There's a lot of resources out there. We'd be happy to help you as well. As far as questions and answers, I'd like to open it up just a little bit. Does anybody have a question specific to your school district or about this program and the round of funding that's open right now? Anybody at all? No? Well, the good news is they're only going to, I think, award $400 million worth of funding this time around. And we heard that they were going to try and do another $1 billion this year. So that means a second round may open this year, probably around the September, October timeframe. So keep your eyes open for that. We're expecting it might go back to like they did in the first round, where you just apply for the buses and you don't have to do a competitive grant. And as I said, this go around is going to be a little bit heavier lift for people. Look at the resources that are available. Get smart. Talk to people who have done this. The schools in your state that have already purchased electric school buses can teach you an awful lot. And then folks like us are always willing to help you out. So thanks for your time. I hope you enjoy the ride in this beautiful vehicle. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If you've never experienced it before, hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
This has been a jam-packed morning already, and you still have a chance to ride the electric school bus. We're going to do it in groups of 2, but before, because I know some of you guys might need to get out of here soon, we just kind of want to wrap up a few loose ends. Again, we are very excited for your leadership, Elizabeth. Representative Fiedler, we hope that everyone will go out to their districts, their communities, and let their legislators know that this is important, that it's proven. Here in Steelton-Highspire, a disadvantaged community is leading the charge in this. It can be done. And I think when students can see the power generated, it makes such a big difference in their lives, because of power is something that we don't always see. We just expect it to come on. But knowing that you can be in charge of it and responsible for your own power, be independent like Steelton is leading the charge, I think it just sends a clear message to students that they can be part of this transition. There are refreshments in the auxiliary gym, so if you're not going on this first bus ride, please help yourselves. Other things, we just want to say thank you, Steelton. Mick, thank you for having us and hosting us this morning. It was great highlighting McClure's project. We really appreciate them going out to the school districts and making it happen. Thank you so much, and obviously leading the labor force and providing local clean jobs to the communities here in Pennsylvania. And then, of course, Generation 180, the national nonprofit. We have Tish Javon here and Kristen Klein. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for having your extra set of hands here. We at Generation 180 want to see more schools go solar, and we provide technical assistance for free for schools in Pennsylvania that are exploring this, just so they can understand the numbers more and make a better informed decision. We also can connect you to anyone in our network, such as Mick, who has done this, and then McClure, who have also led the charge. So again, we just want to thank you for taking the time out. Please don't be shy, take a ride. It is very transformative. You will not believe how quiet an electric school bus is, and they're so much healthier for our students. There's been information that says it's like smoking cigarettes for our children on the bus. So we are exposing them to all these horrible pollutants through our electric school buses to get them to where they need to learn to become future leaders of tomorrow. So the more we do now, the better we'll be. Again, I just want to thank you all.